Welcome to the Complete Story series where I take trade paperbacks and single issues and I break them down into digestible bites to help you understand. Then I read them dramatically back to you. Recently, we've been doing an ongoing series for the new Justice League, which is being set up almost to be like a TV show like the classic Justice League show. We've got issues 1 through 4 already covered, but one thing that we've discovered in issues 1 through 4 is that Lex Luthor became a villain again and somehow got all of the villains together and created the Legion of Doom. Well, in issue 5, the issue we're going to be covering today, they give you a sort of origin to the Legion of Doom, this new version. And today, we're going to go back into Lex Luthor's history to discover what made him decide to go from being good guy Lex Luthor to leader of the Legion of Doom. I hope you enjoy. There was no warning. As tears filled the Scarecrow's eyes, he realized that something in the world had changed. How, he does not know. All he knows is that it did. But he wasn't the only one. This feeling travels all the way from Arkham Asylum to the skies of Kahndaq. The effects even reach hell, where Neron nearly drops a finely aged cask of human souls. Because right now, in the center of that change is Lex Luthor as he pilots Superman's body forward, going towards the totality. Lex takes a moment to stop and smile because everything in the world is as it should be. It all began when Lex Luthor took over the Hall of Doom for himself, casting out the original members into the fiery depths below. He upgraded the fortress's arsenal and made changes to its interrogation chamber at the request of the Joker. But perhaps the most dangerous item of all rests inside of Lex's private quarters displayed on a pedestal, or at least it should. Instead, it is carried with him, sitting comfortably inside of his pocket. However, this story actually takes place just before Doom was ever really a thing. You see, up in space, the Green Lanterns fought against the horrors that poured out of the damaged Source wall, and it was a fierce battle. Even Soranik Natu told her Yellow Lanterns that they need to work with the Green Lanterns. That call for aid reached the ears of Sinestro, the person that the Yellow Lanterns had based their entire livelihood on, and even he agreed reluctantly. A voice called out to him, stating that they know exactly what he is thinking, and Sinestro spun around to fire a blast of yellow energy. And then he sees that voice came from the most evil man in the entirety of the universe, Lex Luthor himself. He asked, how is he here? And Lex told him, it's something called quantum folding. It allows me to take one step and travel from one end of the universe to the other. But that's not why I'm here. I understand that the great Sinestro would believe that the best thing to do here is work with the Green Lanterns. Sinestro tells him, speak plainly. And Lex says, what if I could promise you everything you ever wanted? Sinestro tells him, I've always taken what is needed. And Lex tells him, no, not need, want. I know the secrets that the Owens have been hiding. I unlocked the secret history of the universe in full. I hold the key right here in my pocket, and I'm starting a group. Join me, and I will give you the invisible spectrum and more. Sinestro pauses for a moment, and then he tells him, I'm listening. Days prior, Lex Luthor helped save the world as one of its heroes, and he learned that the dominant energy of the human life was entropy. This all happened in the storyline No Justice. In a world of entropy, there would be no certainties or predictability. Everything would slowly decline into disorder, and Lex would not allow that to happen. So he compiled together all of the data from his shell companies that had been working on time travel, and he built himself a real-life time machine. He had a rough map that went forward into a millennia, but that wasn't far enough. He drifted in hypertime, jumping from timeline to timeline. It was painful, yes, but he would soon learn who was right. He took off his goggles and he stepped into the future 1 million years from now. There were no gods. There was only Luthor. As Lex stares at a statue of himself, a group of this time's villains fly down asking if it's really him. The tachyon particles gathered here for weeks, showing that someone was coming from the 21st century. Lex asked, what is this place? And the villains told him that it is Lexor's city. And Lex then asks, how did this happen? And the villain said the society stopped fooling itself. People were told to aspire to become some fictional better version of who they were, but they couldn't ever hold on to it because it was all a lie. The cycle repeated itself until an archaeologist found the lost works of the great Lex Luthor and broadcasted that to the world. The people were inspired by your early teachings, and they embraced what you really were on the inside, no matter how ugly it was. People stopped pretending to be heroes, and the villains conquered the universe in your name. The people in this time call it the Great Tragedy. The one who saw the truth but missed the key to unlocking it in his time. Lex asks, what is this key? And the villains told him that they couldn't do it because it could very well rewrite the course of human history. All they can do is show him the symbol at the heart of it all, and they call it Doom. The villains hold up their hands, revealing a ring with a particular symbol etched into it. And after a few moments of silence, the villains ask Lex if there's anything wrong, and he stares at them in disgust. Shortly after returning to the present and waking up from what could only be described as a dream, Lex went to meet with Gorilla Grodd. He asked what was the point of being right if no one realizes it for millions of years after you die. And Grodd tells him, "You went to the end of the time to learn that you were a fool and a failure. I could have told you that in an instant. If it wasn't for your psychic blockers, I would have you rip your own throat out." Lex says, "I like your spirit, but you're missing the point. We need to think bigger. I can offer you the world." Grodd looks out at the United Nations General Assembly, having all of the people inside kill each other, and he says, "I already have the world. The leaders of your idiot species grovel at my feet, and I will not bow to any man." Lex tells him that these are nothing but witless bureaucrats. This is a pointless show of force designed to intimidate the Flash. But we both know it'll accomplish nothing. Grodd grabs Lex by the neck, stating, "Enough games!" And Lex tells him, "Just listen. I was wrong. We've all been wrong. I know how to stop the Speed Force dead in its tracks so we don't have to wait until the end of time to win. The universe wants us to take it now." And Grodd lessens his grip and he tells him, "How?" The villains of the future told Lex that he had missed something, which would have meant it was under his nose. That statement poked and gnawed at the back of his mind, but what could he be missing? The only thing out of place was a forwarded invitation to his father's old Legionnaires Club. After taking the opportunity to let off some steam and blow some things up, Lex found a door that no one could ever see. A secret chamber beneath the building, decades older than the crumbling facade above. The papers described a strange and twisted history of the universe. It marked the coming of the great totality and the end of things anew. Lex wondered for that moment about his father. Did old Lionel have deeper secrets than he ever knew? And just then he saw the symbol, the mark that he had seen at the end of time. This is what those future idiots said I missed. The path towards my actualization of my own time. The path towards doom. I hadn't realized when I carried the loose knob with me that I had been holding an object far more powerful than 100 atom bombs. With it, I could unlock the hidden energies of the universe. Doom would come in our time, and I would see it. So Lex unlocked the invisible spectrum, but he needed someone to command it, to bring justice to its knees. He would find the scion of the turtle, and through him unlock the arresting powers of the still force to stop creation in its tracks. That too would require someone capable of controlling the scion. Lex laughed as he realized what he was building. A legion of horror had built itself in his mind, and he had reached for the doorknob on the table in the strange Kansas basement. Each participant best suited for one of the 7 forces described in these papers. A legion that represented the true face of the universe, with all of its selfish, vindictive pride. A legion that did not stand for people as they should be, but as they were and will always be. And as Lex took that power into his hand, it echoed all across space and time. It echoed all the way back to Lexor's city and humanity's end. And as the wall of light engulfed the future, the villains knew what it meant. Lex had found the key to unlocking the truth to his own future. With rapturous cries, they cheered on their annihilation. Back in the current time, Lex now pilots Superman's body as he has taken control of him, and he begins to understand his purpose. And yours. If he could, he would ask you a question that he has asked the rest. Why should you be better than your nature? Why should any of them? The universe made them what they are, all with their selfish animal impulses. Why feel guilty for them? Celebrate them. You should be who you really are, to embrace your true self, just like Lex wants you to, and choose the right side. Screw justice! Side with doom. And there you have it. The Legion of Doom is wrapped up with their initial origins. I personally really enjoy the idea of the Legion of Doom returning. And I really enjoy Scott Snyder's run here with the Justice League series. So, if you like this, make sure you subscribe to our channel as we will be bringing you issues 5 through 7 next to wrap up the totality. And I do gotta say something real quick. Apparently in the last video, I said the totality was in space. I was wrong. I thought it was in space. Everyone has told me, Benny, you made a mistake. Even though it looks all spacey, the thing's on Earth, which actually makes sense with later storylines that have come out now where Batman's just kind of keeping guard on the whole thing, but that's kind of a spoiler, so enjoy the video, make sure you subscribe, but I'm going to bring a friend in. I have another friend from another comic book channel known as Sal from Comic Pop. He's currently visiting for a couple of our podcasts, and he likes to review comics on the regular. So, Sal, what do you think of Scott Snyder's Justice League and his inclusion of the Legion of Doom?
I think it's great. I love Scott Snyder's Justice League. You can tell he's building towards something huge, and he's going to kind of probably flip the whole universe upside down again. And I think that's awesome. I love how he and Tinian the Fourth kind of like swap stories a little bit, like and focus on the Legion of Doom and the different villains. This issue was incredible because not only did you get some fun Justice League stuff, but it's really a focus on the villains and how Lex Luthor takes over everything. And the image of Lex Luthor in the future where he's like, oh, I finally win, but I'm dead. I gotta have it now.
Yeah.
It's just incredible. That's a great turn for Lex. And I love how he basically recruits every member by giving them something they're missing. Something they want.
And that's your opinion from a guy who is much comic nerdier than I am. I love everything. Sal's very selective.
I am selective, but I'm trying to be more
open-minded on the comics.
Exactly, especially new stuff.
Well, if you guys want to see his reviews on comic books on the regular, or watch his pilot or flagship show, back issues, go check him out at Comic Pop. You can find that on YouTube. You can find that on Twitch. You can find it all over the place. And you can also click the link down below. And if you want more of me and you want more of me reading your comic books to you, then make sure you subscribe to Comicstorian to keep up with the Justice League storyline, Batman, the Avengers, Spider-Man, whatever you want to know about, we will fill you in. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and if you go over to Patreon, patreon.com/Comicstorian, you can find a podcast network that we are trying to build to support all of our endeavors. So if you want to support us, you want to see us make more content, come on over to patreon.com/Comicstorian to find various podcasts over there and early access to tons of our videos. I thank you guys who go over and join us. I thank you guys who are subscribing to us. And I thank all of you who smash that like button and break your monitors, because I'm sorry, maybe you should have used the mouse and not punched your screen. I don't know why you did that. I mean, when someone says smash the like button, I picture they're punching the screen.
I'm thinking hammers.
Yeah, hammers. Why would you use a hammer on your screen? All right, we'll see you next time.